It's our intro. It's our intro. It's like porn music.
And welcome to the FullerWatt podcast with your host, Gavin Watson and Chris Watts. But today, Chris is not here today. So we've got special guest with us, Mark Pease, the owner and head coach of Strikeforce. G'day, Gavin.
Do the clap now.
Okay, do the clap. Sorry, mate. Where's the clap?
They can't hear it, can they? They don't know what's going on, man.
G'day, Gav.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. And hello to you, Mark.
G'day, man. How are we?
Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Mark. Mark, you were here. You were here in Perth for the Empire Series. 2 fights last night.
Yep.
You want to just go through those, or no?
No, not really. No. Look, 2 very good fights. We had Jesse Jager fighting for the Australian WMC super heavyweight title.
Yep.
Mad fight from round 1 to round 4, and then it was 2 and 2 coming into the last round. And old mate just pushed a little bit harder towards the end, but I can't take anything away from Astle. 23 kilos difference in weight.
Yeah.
Between the both boys. Good
23
hard fight.
kilos.
Yeah,
He came in pretty big, didn't he?
He did come in pretty big, but so the fight's a fight, and he took the fight, and we did well. So I was happy, and Jaggers would just seem to be second to everything last night.
Yeah.
But again, a good technical fight from round 3 onwards. It was a great technical fight. To be honest, I just sat back and watched.
Yeah.
It was that good. It was like shot for shot, setting up, drawing, and all that sort of stuff.
Beautiful.
Good, what ties do.
Yeah. Now he's a good Prap Silk. He's one of our better ties in Perth. So Gavin,
Yes. Good morning.
good morning to you. And how have you been, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Just come away from a trip to Thailand with Tom.
Yeah, Tom got
wedding,
married.
Yeah,
Yep.
for a Muay Thai vault. So it was beautiful to see Tom get married to Barbara after about 10 years. So well done to Tom, about time.
All right, buddy. Let's get straight into interview
Our
with
special
Mark.
guest,
Our
our
special
special
guest,
guest,
Mark. You
Yeah,
two. So what's the
so-
connection with you two then?
Yeah, so me and Mark go back. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Mark's. Mark was in the era of where my coach was training and fighting, and Mark and my coach Dean White were, friends, and just also from England followed Mark Pease with, with Strikeforce Gym and Evolution fight shows, and big fan of Aaron Too Smooth Leigh and Pixie. So yeah, that was a really big golden era for Muay Thai in
It was.
Australia, wasn't it, Mark? And Mark's been people who know Muay Thai know Mark and know how good a coach he is and how long he's been in the game, and also how good his camps are and fighters he produces, really. So
where are you based? Where is Strikeforce based? Is it Gold Coast? Is
It's
it
Gold Coast.
Burleigh Heads?
Burleigh Heads.
Yeah. And you've been named Australian Gym of the Year 3 times running. Is that correct? You don't really care about that sort of stuff?
No.
we're just scared if Liverpool are winning.
Did they win last night?
No, we don't play till Wednesday.
Ah.
Wednesday.
Looking good though.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're here for Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So I've known Mark probably about 20 odd years now.
Yep.
So I did a podcast with Mark actually last year, but I just literally got all my equipment, and Mark was my first guest on the
was the guinea
podcast.
pig.
Yeah, but we did it over the phone, and it was a bit echoey. So whilst I knew Mark was coming back to Perth for Darius's show, I thought let's strike while they are. Now that we've got yourself and Chris on board, we wanted to do it a bit more professionally and strike while they are. And Zotti's got a couple of hours before the fly back, so strike while the timing is of essence, I guess.
Yep.
So how did you start your Muay Thai journey? What's your affiliation and how did you get into Muay Thai?
Well, like most of us back in the days, it was a karate-based scenario.
Yeah.
Most people did karate. I was doing junior karate, and I went to a kickboxing fight with my instructor at the time, and watched. It was above the waist kickboxing fight in the ring, and I'd never seen one before at all.
Above the waist kickboxing?
Above the waist kickboxing, yeah, which they still do in England, PKA rules or something like that sort of thing. And it was a guy by the name of Gary Pedersen, who was a pretty big fighter over in Sydney, and a guy called Tony Quinn. Mm-hmm. And it was for the Commonwealth title. And when I watched this, it was like just the essence of what was going on.
Yeah.
And I said straight up to my instructor, I want to do it. He said, I can't teach you that. So I started doing my own stuff one night a week, and then I was getting magazines from a mate of mine who is Thai, Tim Damajiva, who owns Six on Pinong. He was sending over magazines, and at that time, VHS, and if you know VHS tapes, they were about yay big. You put them in, and we used to watch fights. So, and started picking things up for myself because no one else could teach me.
What year? What decade? We're talking 90s now?
80s.
80s.
Late 80s, 88.
Whoa,
88.
whoa.
88 we started.
And then we're heading like in the 90s. That's the halcyon day of Muay Thai. Like
Yeah,
you
so
could say
from
the
about
golden age.
93 we started going to Thailand.
Yeah.
And then 98, I'd say the golden era of Muay Thai started in Queensland and WA as well. Mm-hmm.
That's a John Wayne Parr.
John Wayne Parr.
He's South Queensland. Yes, is it
East
South
Queensland.
Yeah, South Queensland,
yeah,
your
South
area.
Queensland,
South
yeah,
Queensland,
yeah.
your
But
area.
there was a lot of good fighters all over Australia. You know, you had guys like Wayne Parr, you had Preacher McPhee, Aaron
Yeah,
Leigh,
okay,
Danny
yeah, cool.
Dudowski,
Yeah.
Pixie Burton, and then over here you had, you know, the Olsons,
Yeah.
all of them. You know, I mean, there
So
was
you
just-
would have known about you would have heard about you would have known about WA Muay Thai as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
100%.
there was big
rivalry.
Big rivalry.
Yeah,
between, Darius touched on it last night between the in the commentary for those who watched the live stream and said, you know, it's pretty cool to see Darren and you know, Mark go at it again because in the golden era there was a lot, not healthy rivalry between
It
Queensland.
was always
and WA.
respect because
Yeah.
we'd like at
I
times
think,
we'd
wow,
be in
that's gone
Thailand
way
together.
back.
But
Yeah.
they'd be at a different camp, and they like if someone was fighting, they'd go and watch that person fight.
Right.
Doesn't matter if they're from South Australia or WA. You'd go and support them, and I mean it's still prevalent today. But most of the guys back then, you'd travel a long way because they'd be up
Yeah.
in Sitmanchai and then coming down to Bangkok, and just good days. And got guys like Jagger now, who was over there for a 6 month stint, and he'd do the same thing. As soon as he knew someone was fighting from Mackay or someone, he'd go and travel down, into Bangkok or wherever they were fighting.
So, like, I see the community that we have in Muay Thai, especially in WA Muay Thai. Every time a WA gym will go over to the east, the WA gyms seem to congregate together. Is it the same? Would you get the same with Queensland as well, or is it
not as strong as it used to be?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are sort of separating, going their own separate ways. There's a bit of a segregation between certain gyms, and some won't go to watch certain people fight, but I'm a big believer of support everybody. It's a very small sport. It's a very small sport, and if you can't get behind people that are fighting interstate or overseas, you shouldn't be in it.
Yes, right. No, fuck the politics.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of politics in that, man.
Too many politics, too many egos, and but we won't talk about that. So I mean, then Strikeforce. Sorry, Gavin, I'm taking over this. I'm taking over this.
He's an absolute guest. Yeah. I think one of the good questions is I asked Mark, and probably should reignite the question.
Yes, of course.
Ask Mark where the Strikeforce name comes from. It's pretty cool.
Let's go. That's a good segue. Let's start with how did Strikeforce get started and how long you've been going for, and then we talk about the fighters. Yeah.
It's an old kick pad. It was a Strikeforce kick pad. This is no word of a lie. We were training and no one had names of gyms. Like we were probably one of the first gyms in the country.
Sorry, Mark. How long ago was this?
In the 80s.
This is 80s when you started the gym.
Yeah. So about 89, we started getting fights, going to venues and so forth. And the Strikeforce name came about with we were holding kick pads one night, and no one sort of had a name for it. Like there was, Blood Axe dojos because they were all karate-based gyms, and I didn't want to have anything to do with the karate-based gym. Yeah. So this pad said Strikeforce on it. I thought, fuck, what a cool name, and that's how it came about. Just looked at a pad that said Strikeforce, took it.
And
it.
And it's been around since the.
And I've still got that pad today.
Have you still got that pad
no,
today?
No, I'm only kidding. Yeah, but that's how it came about.
Yeah.
And it stuck, and
It's pretty cool.
then we went. Because we used to go to the clubs back in the late 80s, early 90s. And back then it was rave clubs.
Of course,
clubs.
the fucking raves, mate.
Yeah, good techno clubs. So
techno.
This club got behind us, and they said, look, if you guys seem to be doing quite well, we want to get on board with you guys. So we got team track suits with sponsorship all over it.
Oh, wow.
Pants with sponsorship all over it. Everyone, they all had their Muay Thai shorts, and that was it. They'd come into the ring like we all had sponsorship with banners, so the whole bit. So we were the first.
You were the first.
I was the instigator, mate.
Yeah, because now
an innovator.
Because now everyone that fights now has got a sponsorship banner. Most fighters now have sponsors.
Yeah.
Look,
it's definitely progressed heaps.
Thank
God.
Yeah.
In the 80s, but in the 80s.
But in the 80s.
What was that like? It was just.
It was good because we'd go to a venue, and a lot of the guys that had walked the ring would play music like AC/DC or very hard rock. But we were playing dance music, and I had dance girls. Serious, this is not what had dance girls walk out with banners for our the nightclub, and as we'd walk into the ring, and people would go, "What is this?
Yeah.
It was good. It was great. I mean, you've got to be an innovator, I believe.
Yeah.
And the club really got behind us. And if we fought and won, they'd give us you go down there, they have a drink card for you at the night and a dinner in the restaurant as well.
And was that the fight payment? Was it a drink card and a dinner?
There was no money, man, back then.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
A bit of wood and plastic and a memory. That's
Well,
about it.
I've done about the bit of wooden plastic. You still get those trophies.
Yeah,
trophies, mate. We should do something about those
Wooden
trophies.
plastic and a bit good memory. That's about it.
But you've seen Muay Thai grow in the last, say, 10 years. I reckon 5 years. It's grown exponentially as well.
I think since COVID.
Yeah. Gavin was touching on this. Yeah.
Like in Thailand, it like 3/4 of the gyms sort of closed down, and 3/4 of the good gyms closed down completely. And I think a lot of the powers to be, like Matt Lucas's and the guys from Fairtex and all that, sort of got together and decided that we've got to do something here, or the sport's going to just wilt away to nothing.
Yeah.
And I think they, with the influencers' involvement now, but the sport's definitely changed big in the last 5 years. It's like back in the early days, it used to be 5 days of Test cricket, all in whites, and by day 4, people were sitting there like that. Then they got the 50-50s with coloured uniforms.
Yes. Wow.
And now they got the 20-20. So now the thing's happening in Muay Thai. Go from 5 rounds to 3 rounds to small gloves. So it's evolving.
I bang on about this and that exact analogy about the what we call it, the stadium Muay Thai, 3 rounds. Yeah. 3 rounds. That's like your T20.
Yeah,
you've got your
exactly.
5 rounders, your 5 test matches, and then now you've got the innovation.
See, I'm a purist. I like my 5 rounds.
And and you like your test matches, I bet as well.
I do. No, not really. But,
okay, sorry.
But I do like the 5 rounds better. I like the strategic plans of 5 rounds.
Yep.
Most of my guys will fight, but some will fight 3 rounds as well. You've got no choice. If you want to get paid good money, you got to go where the 3 rounds are paying the good coin. So.
But it's like I touched on, like the T20 with T20 in cricket. That's bringing non-cricketers into the sport.
Yep.
Do you think that the 3 rounders or the stadium Muay Thai is bringing, like, one championship is bringing the non-Muay Thai people into the sport?
I support a lot more people into the sport, but I feel it's not necessarily the promotion or the brand. I think it's more the influencers that are helping them bring it in.
Yeah.
They're making really good content, and people are grabbing this content. And, I wouldn't have thought some of this stuff, Ask you got any videos of your fights, and you're thinking, oh, there's probably 1 or 2, but now people are doing their training sessions. How they wake up in the morning, but then, like these guys are all doing that as well.
Look,
it's progressed.
The branding for fighters now is a lot different. I mean, now they are creating a story.
It is.
So it's about their training camp. It's about their preparations and
I'm a big believer on that.
Yeah.
But what I find quite funny is you get people that had 3 or 4 fights. Now they're looking, you look on their fan page, and they're looking for sponsors. Get on board with their fan T-shirt. And I'm thinking, come on, do the hard yards first. That's my belief. Do the yards and then start working.
Another great segue. Like, we talk about, like, the amateur. Do you think that we need more amateur fighters? We need more. Need to build that amateur.
I think we need more amateur shows.
Amateur shows. There you go. Yeah. We need more amateur shows. Like in the UK, Gavin. Like we bang on.
They got a really good pathway.
We talk about, like, if you have a look at fighters like your Ali Harbors and your Alfie Pontings, they, before they even had their first professional fight, they had 50 or 60 fucking amateur fights under the belt. So I mean, building that block. So without the razzmatazz and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Can you ask a question, bro? I'm taking over this fight.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm just happy to have a coffee with Mark and just see him, basically. But no, I mean, so obviously we've touched on Strikeforce, the name. Mark, just give us, probably Boondy probably doesn't know it, but what I do, but just give the listeners out there just some of the fighters that you've created along the journey.
We know the number one fighter.
And then Mark, tell us, and then give us an insight to your best trip away and then your worst trip away.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Some of the fighters. So start from the old guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
so go through them all.
We had a guy by 1990. I trained a young boy that started with me, Stephen Roston, who was at high school, and he was the first Australian to beat a Thai in Australia. At the time, he fought a guy by the name of Ruckchat and beat him quite comfortably. So he was South Pacific champion. So then we had Pixie Burton, world champion, Commonwealth champion, Intercontinental. Aaron Leigh, multiple world champion, Commonwealth, Intercontinental as well. Danny Dudowski, Intercontinental and world champion. who else? Dan Mulder, Diamond Jim McLeod, Brody Smith.
What you just keep the list just keeps going
Yeah,
on, and
yeah.
we're not even hitting the big ones yet.
No,
kind of.
no. And then they've got Matt McTavish, who was an Australian champion.
Wow,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah, I remember that name.
So there was some big names back then, and then you moved to sort of, there's a bit of a stale period about 2017 through to about 2019. So 2 years, peaks and troughs, like all businesses. We all have it.
like life,
Exactly.
like life.
And then I started getting, I had a Jayden Eynaud come to me because his coach sort of,
Wow.
he was only a junior. Well, he wasn't a junior. He was probably about 21, 22 at the time. But his coach said he'd taken him as far as he could because he thought, he's a bad man.
He's a bad.
He's a bad man.
Bad.
And he's worked a lot on his chin because his chin used to be his weakness.
Yeah.
And he wanted him to go to Thailand and train to fight with the Russians and all that sort of thing. But he didn't want to do it because Arslan Magomedov was his coach. And
Yeah,
Arslan's
okay.
a great coach and a great fighter. But he thought that Jayden had done as much as he could and he didn't want to see him get hurt.
Yeah.
So we started working together and he started winning a lot of fights and then he started knocking a lot of people out.
Oh, he's got that knock.
Yeah, and then he thought Charlie's his kryptonite.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's like Chad Collins has got Miguel Trinidad, who's kryptonite. But Miguel's Trinidad's kryptonite is Patch Panamorong, where Chad beat Patch Panamorong quite easily. You know what I mean? So styles make fights.
Yes,
Styles make fights.
Yeah,
and it's some are good, some are bad. But then you move into the fray today, you've got 5-time world champion Chad Collins.
Chad, yes.
3 times world champion Jayden Eynaud.
Yes. He's not. He's fighting doing.
He's
is it not
doing
bare knuckle. It's
no,
karate.
combat.
Karate combat.
But we've got in our contract that we can go. He wants to defend his WBC world title against Gerardo Atti again.
Yeah.
They've asked. And there's also WMO. We want to look at him fighting Jakobenko, who holds the Cruiserweight world. So some good fights in there. And they've allowed that, which is a good thing. Then you've got James Honey, who's fighting for the ISCA world title in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Then he's going to fight for the WMO world title in August. I won't say who yet, but it's a countryman of yours.
I know who it is.
I think you know who it is.
I know it is.
Yeah, but we were booked to fight Joe Ryan. We were booked
Liam
to
Harrison?
fight.
No.
No. Bit bigger. We were booked to fight Joe Ryan, but that's
Really, but now he's retired.
Mm.
Wow, that's him. Yeah,
And then you got guys like Jager Chan, who's the XFC world champion. We're off to England there with him in May to fight Jack Kennedy, defend his world title. And Jesse Astle, who's, he's only just turned 23, 24. He's only young still.
Yeah. Wow,
So
these all these young kids,
They're
mate,
all coming
with all the
through.
skills.
Yeah. And then you got some younger guys at the gym, like my son. And then you got Clay, and you've got some young females there, like Brittany Dollahide. Brittany's had 40-odd 2 fights. And she's only
Brittany's
20.
good.
Yeah, so
Wow.
some good fighters in the gym coming through. So the next level sort of, but what I like about, which is why most of my guys have stayed, Dan Mulder still coaches in my gym.
Yeah.
Diamond Jim McLeod still fights in my gym and coaches with their daughters and their sons
Yeah.
and our team as well. Everyone works with each other.
So it is
It's our
family.
community.
It's a family.
Exactly.
It's a family. I'm getting it.
It's
I'm
like
getting
Bad
it.
Company and places like that.
Yeah. So you've
these
got several generations of
Yeah.
of family members in the gym.
Well, my best mates like Danny Dudowski and Jim McLeod, they've been with me 25, 30 years.
Jeez.
They fought for me all over the world, won titles for me all over the world, and now their kids are in the gym training.
So you've set you've set a nice culture. You've
It's
a strong culture.
it is.
Strong culture. That's
Yeah.
why the gym is. The
But
gym.
the thing is, I'm the captain that guides the ship.
Yeah.
Person like Jagger has just come back from working with Yod Kapun over in Thailand for 6 months. Brings his knowledge back. So I'm not going to say, no, we're not going to do it this way. Let's have a look what Jagger's got.
Yeah.
And we can utilise and use those things.
Yeah.
Use his knowledge as well, which makes him part of the team as well. And then he knows all these guys because Jagger's been with us since he was 14 years of age.
That's great culture, though. It
Nearly
gives him
15,
autonomy, you know,
15 years,
ownership.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's part of that as well.
But how old is he now? How old are you now?
29.
29.
29.
So, geez.
Yeah, he was just a young kid, and he was training with Aaron Leigh and Pixie and that back then, just on their end of their career. He was at the beginning. You know what I mean? So, and it's just carried through. Yeah.
It's just like an overlap
Yeah.
of knowledge and skills
Exactly.
and talent.
So we just utilise everybody's
Great
talent. You know?
culture.
It's because you'll go to some gyms, and I'm not going to point names. They train each person the same way, be it if they're tall or short. They've got what this gym does, and that's what it does. We work to what the strengths lie. Like if you're a short person, you're going to probably be a Muay mutt person
Yeah.
with punches and so forth. If you're tall and skinny, we're going to use you to be a Muay Khal with the knees and so forth. So you try and work to people's strengths rather than what the gym culture should be. So he's different to Astle. Astle's different to Jayden. Chad's different to everybody, you know. And then James Honey's very, very good with his feet and his hands. So everyone brings something to the table in this new crop.
Yeah, but what is the undercurrent of Strikeforce through that undercurrent thread through all the fighters that's keeping them together? What do you think it is?
What do I think it is? I think it's just a good camaraderie.
Yeah,
Definitely a camaraderie. People like to see people succeed, like I do.
That family sense of belonging. Yeah,
but I also like to see people succeed because if they succeed, I succeed.
Yeah.
You know, like back in 2013, I went back to uni as an adult old man to do a Bachelor of Sports Coaching to understand the modern athlete.
Yeah.
To learn more about sporting psychology, how to get into somebody's head, and I really praise myself at doing that. You know, I can work, you know, if somebody's down, I can understand. Like we do a fighter profile. I'll give them a sheet. They work. I tell them what's your strengths, what your weaknesses. They've got to write them down for me. And then we try and work a plan to sort of get those weaknesses to strengths.
Wow.
And how they like to be spoken to by a coach.
You're giving them a bit of like more of a self-awareness about them.
No, giving them ownership.
Ownership.
And accountability of themselves.
Autonomy as well.
The autonomy.
The autonomy. That's that's great.
Because if I say this is how we do things, people are going to get pretty bored with that after a little while.
Yeah.
So if you can give people ownership of their own pathway, like, I mean, I'm not going to say to Jack, no, you shouldn't be doing it this way. I'll give my point of view. And then we work things. Every night he's got something coming from Chad or myself and James, and we try and work to the best of his abilities, you know. And sometimes it might work, sometimes it won't. Sometimes you got to learn from the mistakes.
I think that's what you're teaching. Yeah, teaching them accountability, ownership, mate, autonomy.
The autonomy of these guys. I mean, if I don't give them the autonomy, they're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they want to be a part of what they're doing.
Fucking knows, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean. With me, I have, and I think this applies to Muay Thai or any martial arts as well. I've got 3 philosophies in life, you know. A deep sense of belonging with other people.
Yep.
Always be open to learning.
Yep.
And never lose that inner child.
See, Muay Thai's you don't play Muay Thai. You go and play golf, you go and play tennis.
Yeah.
This sport, you can get hurt. To be honest, you can die.
You can die.
Right? So if I'm not a good coach, people pay me, I'm a professional. People pay me to coach them. If I'm not good at my job, they're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And as I said, if I see these guys succeed, I succeed. I want to see them. You know, like I've seen Aaron down, I've seen Aaron up, bought a house, got his own business. Pixie's the same. I'm seeing these guys succeed in life, not only in the sport thing, but as soon as they're finished, we go to parties together, we go to barbecues all together, all the same crew.
So
we do.
That sense of belonging.
Yeah,
and
and he knows all these people as well. You know, so it's part of our culture. It's not a cliquey group. People are always welcome, but you know, people want to see people succeed. It's a great thing. And
so it's inclusive. So you've got your group. Yeah. So it's inclusive. So if the other people want to come in, you can come in.
Sure,
you know? We've got a tight knit group, but if you want to join us, don't be a dickhead.
Yeah, exactly. But as I said, you know, I'm a professional coach. People pay me to coach them. Yeah. And as we all seen, there's gyms out there that are taking people's money, and you think, my God, what's going on there? Why are they there? I want to see people succeed in life, and the sport. You know, there's people that, you know, they fill out their profile sheet. Where do you want to be in 1 year, 3 years, in 5 years? And some, I want to be UFC world champion. Okay. Yeah. Or you see, I want to have more fights. I want to win the Queensland title. I'd like to be fighting professionally on the. That person you can work with. Yeah. You know, other people, you know, they're going to fly in and fly out. But these guys, you know, like James.
You need having that path.
You need a pathway.
You need a pathway. Yeah. You need to have,
you give the fighter a pathway, steps, you know, and hopefully looking for something outside after they're finished their fighting career. What can they do next, you know? Something like Jager's a physio. And like I always said, you know, when the parents had their kids there, school and work first. Yeah. This is second. If they were getting paid $1 million a fight, stop doing what you're doing. You're good enough to be making $1 million a fight. That's not going to happen in the sport. Yeah. You know, we're here to make memories, you know, because you're not going to be rich from doing Muay Thai. We all know that. But you're going to have good memories and lasting ones. You know? And, you know, and his success is now coming, you know? Yeah. It's good.
I can't wait for his success.
So I just had two other questions. And Mark, which was probably one of your best memories traveling away, and then which was probably not from a win or a loss, but give us a calamity, what was the worst one traveling?
Okay, definitely the best was 2004 in England. I took Pixie and Aaron Leigh to London to fight on Sean Toomey's promotion over there. Aaron was fighting a guy by the name of Paulo de Silva.
Yep.
And I can remember Johnny Jarvis was a little bit concerned about Aaron. He thought Aaron was going to make the weight, so he wanted to check Aaron's weight 2 days before the event. And I thought, oh, Jesus. But Aaron was more than well underweight. In fact, he was a little bit lighter than Paulo. And he knocked him out in the first round quite quickly. He did.
Wow.
Yeah, he belted him. He actually belted him. But Paulo went on to have great success after that anyway, you know. But Aaron was just a different level.
Beast.
He was a beast of a
Yeah.
fighter. And then Pixie fought a guy by the name of Saknayagam, who was from the KO Academy where Jagger trained when he was in England.
Oh, wow.
So it's sort
Everything
of
connects.
Everything connects in there.
everything
And
connects.
Pixie won that one by unanimous points decision. So I had 2 big world title wins in England
Wow.
in 2004. So that was definitely my best memory.
21 years ago.
Yeah,
Jesus.
and I actually missed the birth of my son because my boys won the world title. We decided we would stay for a couple of weeks, and we went to Rome for 5 days, and then from Rome we went to Amsterdam for 5 days. So you get a picture of what happened. We'll leave it there on that one.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Dutch Muay Thai, mate. As you went over there to study Dutch Muay Thai, didn't you?
Yeah. And look, to be honest, negative trip. I really haven't had any bad trips or things on a fight show. Like, sure, you take the losses like everybody else. I mean, you learn from those things, but most times we've been looked after. In fact, all time. I can't say there's never been a bad experience. You know, all of them have been pretty memorable trips, and if they weren't, that's because we haven't made it memorable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And will Leeds make it to the Premier League next year?
I hope so, Mark. So we can do a bit more banter backwards and forwards. It's a bit lonely in the Championship for banter.
True.
Well, mate, thank you very much for joining us here, mate.
Mate, no problems at all.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyable.
And good luck. And what is going to be happening in the future? Any big fights coming up, matey?
Well, as I said, we're
Yeah, you
going
just name 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Well, on April 12th in Brisbane, James Honey fights for the ISKA K1 title, world title, and then he's got one in August for the WMO middleweight world title, which will be a huge fight.
Big
Yeah.
fight.
In England, huge fight. Great fighter. And then we've got Jager over in England fighting
In May again, yes.
in May, and then
Of
we've got
course.
Jayden's going to Dubai in May as well, fighting in karate combat with another big fight.
Mate,
So
that's exciting, that stuff.
yeah.
And what about Chad?
Back to Japan for Chad on the 21st of June.
Yeah.
In another tournament, so he's got to fight there on 21st of June and the 8th of November. But we're looking, as I said, we're looking to defend some of those world titles. He's got or just fight again with the WBC, whoever. He's looking for fights now back in Muay Thai as well at 63.5 kilos. That's where he does his best business.
Yes.
Believe me.
I know, mate. I know.
Yeah.
He is a beast.
Yeah, he is. He's good to watch.
Yes. Well, mate, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
And safe journeys on the way home, boys.
No problems
And
at all.
I'll probably see. I'll be on the Gold Coast in a couple of months, mate.
Really?
I might come and visit.
Flick us a message and come on down.
I will come and visit you guys.
No,
for sure.
indeed.
All right, mate. Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
mate.
Cheers.
No problems. Cheers. Cool.